I'm actually going to ask this next question, and then James is going to close us out for the afternoon. Picking up on that theme that Jim was just talking about, given the recent disaster with the BP oil spill, has that changed your view at all of offshore drilling? If so, how? And Kelly, we could start with you.
I think when it comes to what happened with BP, we absolutely need to get to the bottom of what caused this environmental disaster. And that has to be very important in doing that, and hold BP accountable and any federal agencies accountable if they have a role in what happened there. But let's not confuse that with our need to still look at developing our own energy resources. Let's find out what went wrong there, make sure it doesn't happen again, but we still have oil resources in this country that I would support, continue to support drilling with the information we get, but we can't not use our own resources as a result of what happened here. And so I continue to support that. I continue to support tapping our natural gas resources and other sources in our country to make sure that we reduce our dependency on buying oil from people that hate us.
You know, it's tragic that we have oil reserves in Anwar, which we're not even utilizing, and we don't have to drill below water to do that. We do need to understand precisely what happened, but regardless of what caused this accident or what could have been done to prevent it, we still know that oil tankers for decades have survived hurricane-force winds down in the Gulf, and they remain safer than tankers crossing the Atlantic. So we do need to better understand exactly what happened. Our government should have been on it from day one. Within 48 hours, they should have assembled all of the experts from the civil engineering world, from the petroleum engineering world, and also from the military. And the president should have, this is the role of big government. This is why big government exists, for precisely these moments. And our government, our president, should have insisted that bringing all these leaders together, I want to know all options within 48 hours. I want to understand what's the probability of success of each option, and what's the risk of failure of each option. That's what presidents are supposed to do. And unfortunately, it was just terribly tragic that so much time was squandered. And thank you.
I think the only thing I can say that's changed is my resolve to make sure that we do the best job we can to utilize, explore, and actually be able to recover our own energy sources. You know, if we step back for a second, this is a tragedy, there's no question about it. It's a tragedy first because we had a loss of human life. 11 individuals were killed on that oil drilling rig. And moreover, we've had this environmental disaster. Americans don't shut down because of disasters. And in New Hampshire, we're all too painfully aware of the shuttle disaster, which had a loss of life. But we didn't stop exploring space. We didn't stop the shuttle program. We took stock of where we were. We learned from the disaster and the tragedy, and we became better at it. And I think the same thing occurs here. We ought to continue with our offshore oil drilling exploration and production. And we ought to make sure we have a government that's ready to respond, though, and have a rapid response team. And one, by the way, that would be ready to move to relieve the rules and regulations that are impairing, for example, Louisiana, from putting up some barrier reef, artificial barrier reef to keep the oil from coming on shore. The governor's had a difficult time working with the EPA to deal with that, and the Army Corps of Engineers. We've got to have the ability of the president to move quickly, to navigate those rules and regulations in order to have an effective response, a rapid response. The president was AWOL on this. The president isn't the environmental commander-in-chief, but he is the commander-in-chief of our military forces. He has resources at his disposal. He should use them for our protection.
Thank you very much.